Welcome to The Rise with Sterling Phoenix. This is the show for ambitious leaders and bold professionals who want clarity, momentum, and results without burning out. Let's go. Surprise, surprise. Email isn't dead. It just evolved. And the leaders who write it off are handing influence to those who didn't. Welcome to The Rise with Sterling Phoenix. Today we're talking about something a lot of marketers get completely wrong: email. Specifically, why email is not dying. It's evolving. And how executives who understand this shift win trust, pipeline, and career leverage while everyone else chases their next shiny channel. Because here's what's happening. For the past 20 years, someone's been declaring email as dead at least once a year. Social media will replace it, they said. Slack will replace it, they said. SMS will replace it, they said. Now it's AI chatbots will replace it. And yet, B2B and B2C leaders who are getting some of the highest ROI are getting it from email. Higher than most social platforms and higher than most paid channels. But here's the catch. The playbook has changed. The strategies that worked in 2015 do not work in today's environment. And the automation you built in 2020 is probably destroying your deliverability right now. But email hasn't died. But email 1.0 and 2.0, well, those are dead. But we're in email 3.0 now. And if you're still operating on old assumptions, then you're burning money and eroding trust and limiting your career trajectory. So today, I'm breaking down what changed, why it matters, and exactly how to build an email 3.0 strategy that actually works. Before we get into email 3.0, we need to understand why the previous versions failed. Because most leaders are still operating on email 2.0 thinking and wondering why its results are declining. So let me show you what died and why. First off, email 1.0 was the broadcast area, mid-2000s through the early 2010s. So the strategy was really quite simple. You just sprayed and prayed. Buy a list, blast everyone, and hope for the best. Newsletter meant everything we're doing this month crammed into one single email. Segmentation meant customers versus prospects. Maybe. And personalization meant putting, quote, first name in the subject line when it worked. And for a while, this worked because inboxes weren't flooded yet and competition was way lower than it is today. People actually opened email newsletters. But then everyone started doing it, and inboxes became warfare zones. People stopped opening, they started marking it all as spam, and engagement plummeted. Then regulators stepped in, canned spam, GDPR, penalties for bad behavior. The result? Fatigue, low trust, and a generation of marketers who learned that email doesn't work. Except email wasn't the problem. The strategy was the problem. So email 2.0 emerged, mid-2010s through about the early 2020s. This was the automation era. Marketing automation platforms, super cool drip campaigns, trigger-based sequences, tons of marketing around, we'll build a nurture journey, we'll segment by behavior, and then we're going to automate everything, hands off. And again, for a while this worked. It worked better than email 1.0 because it had better targeting and more relevant timing, actual segmentation based on actions by users, not just demographics. But then the same thing happened. Everyone did it, and it became impersonal at scale. You'd get the same canned sequence everyone else got. Email 3 of 7, email 5 of 12. The quote, personal email from the CEO that was clearly automated. And the just checking in email that was so obviously a workflow trigger. And people got savvy. They could smell the automation. They could feel when they were in a machine instead of a conversation. And the result of it all was over-engineered journeys, diminishing returns, and executives again declaring email is dead. But it still wasn't dead. It just needed to evolve past the whole automation theater situation. So, here's why so many leaders wrote off email. Engagement was dropping, and open rates declined, and click rates fell, and the unsubscribes increased. But the problem was they misdiagnosed the cause. They thought email as a channel is dying. But the truth of the matter really is that email as a blunt instrument does not work anymore. Because here's what actually happened. Recipients got sophisticated. They got selective. They got protective of their attention. And when your email looks like everyone else's and uses the same automation triggers and feels like generic marketing, it gets ignored. Not because email is dead, but because your marketing strategy for email is obsolete. Now that's the difference. And it's the difference between writing off a channel versus evolving your approach. All right, we've covered what died. Now let's talk about what's emerging. Email 3.0, the evolution of what most executives haven't caught on to yet, but the ones who have are dominating. There are 4 characteristics that define email 3.0 really. And if you're not building around these, you're still playing an old game. So the first characteristic, human first personalization, not high first name personalization, like real personalization based on actual signals and context. So while email 2.0 personalization was demographic, things like job title, company size, industry. Email 3.0 personalization is behavioral and contextual, like what content they engage with, what pain points they're researching, where they are in their decision journey, and what signals they're showing across channels. Here's what this looks like. In email 2.0, we would have said something like, "Hi, Sarah. As VP of Marketing, you're probably interested in our marketing automation platform." Generic, assumes, one size fits all. In email 3.0, it would sound something more like, "Hey, Sarah, I saw you downloaded our guide on reducing CAC and spent several minutes on the page about AI-powered optimization. Here's a 2-minute video showing exactly how we helped, company name, cut their CAC by 31% using the framework you were reading about." Now that's specific, contextual, and directly relevant to the demonstrated interest. And here's what makes email 3.0 possible now that wasn't available before. First of all, we've got intent signals across channels. You can actually see when someone's researching and what they're clicking and what they're engaging with. And that goes for across web, social, and content platforms. And then you can do micro-segmentation at scale. AI can segment not by 5 personas, but like 500 micro-segments based on actual behavior patterns. It's amazing. And then dynamic content assembly. Email content can adjust in real time based on the latest signals, not just what was true when you wrote that email. Now that's human first personalization, and it's table stakes for email 3.0. So the second characteristic is AI-powered optimization. We're not talking about AI replacing humans. We're talking about AI helping humans get better, faster, more personal results. So here's where AI actually delivers serious value in email. First of all, send time optimization. AI can analyze when individual recipients are most likely to engage and schedules your sends accordingly. We're not talking Tuesday at 10 a.m. for everyone, but Tuesday at 10 a.m. for Sarah because that's when she opens, and Thursday at 2 p.m. for Michael because that's his pattern. And you can also do subject line testing at scale. So AI can generate 20 variations, test them with microsegments, identify the winners, and then scale them, all automatically. So what used to take weeks now takes hours. You can also do predictive churn outreach. AI identifies when someone's engagement is declining and triggers re-engagement sequences before they fully disengage. That's proactive, not reactive, and it makes a big difference. And you can also do content matching. AI analyzes what content formats and topics resonate within each of your segments and adjusts the recommendations it makes accordingly. And here's what else separates email 3.0 AI from email 2.0 automation. When we were in email 2.0 automation, it was rigid if-then logic. If someone clicks X, then send Y. But in email 3.0 AI, we have adaptive learning. AI can understand that this person's behavior is similar to this segment, which historically responds best to this type of content. So let's start there and adjust based on their response. It's not automated, it's intelligent, which is why leaders using AI in email are seeing ROI, while others are seeing declining returns. Now, the third characteristic, cross-channel integration. Email in email 3.0 isn't just a silo, it's actually an anchor. Here's how this works in reality. Email doesn't exist alone. It exists as part of an integrated experience. So you have like email plus video, not click to watch a video, but video embedded right in the email with a clear CTA within the video player itself. Or you have email plus SMS, strategic permission-based SMS for high urgency moments. It's not replacing email, but complementing it for time-sensitive opportunities. Or email plus community, where you're using email to drive people into Slack communities or LinkedIn groups or exclusive forums where deeper engagement happens. Or email plus events. So you send pre-event email sequences that build excitement and during event emails that enhance the experience and post-event emails that maintain momentum. Email becomes the connective tissue, the anchor point of it all, the place where you can deliver depth that other channels, they just can't do it. Because here's what email has that the other channels don't. You own that channel. There's no algorithm deciding if your audience sees your message. And you can go deep. There's no like crazy limit on 140 or 280 characters or a 10-second video. And you have permission. They gave you their email. And that's a higher bar than a follow or a like. So email 3.0 leverages that advantage while integrating with other channels strategically. Now the fourth characteristic, trust metrics over vanity metrics. This is probably the most important shift, and it's the one most marketers are still getting wrong. In email 1.0 and 2.0, you measure success with vanity metrics like open rates and click rates and list size. And teams optimize for those numbers. Clickbait subject lines, aggressive list growth tactics, frequent sends to maximize reach. But email 3.0 measures success with trust metrics. So we're talking like deliverability rate. What percentage of your emails are actually reaching inboxes versus getting filtered to spam? And engagement quality. Not just did they click, but did they spend actual time with the content you sent them to? Did they forward it? Did they respond? And list health. What percentage of your list is actually actively engaged versus just dead weight dragging down your sender reputation? And your response rate. How many people actually reply to your emails? That's really the ultimate signal of resonance. And then conversion to conversation. Does email lead to calls booked, meetings scheduled, or deals progressed? That's the real impact. And here's why this matters at the executive level. Protecting your sender reputation is protecting your brand equity. So if your email domain gets flagged as low quality, it doesn't just hurt your marketing emails. It hurts every email in your organization. It will put a hard, cold, ugly end to sending anything. That includes things like sales emails and customer success emails and executive communications. One bad marketing decision can poison your entire email ecosystem. So, email 3.0 marketers understand trust is not a soft metric, it's business critical infrastructure. All right, we've covered the evolution. Now let's talk about your playbook. So, if you're trying to build an email 3.0 strategy, here's exactly where to start. So, your first move, you need to audit trust. Most marketers audit performance, opens, clicks, conversions. And that's fine, but it's incomplete. You need to audit trust. So, here's what this looks like. Question one that you need to ask is, what percentage of your list is actually engaged versus dead weight? If 40% of your list hasn't opened an email in 6 months, they're not prospects. They're just deliverability anchors. And then question two, what's your spam complaint rate? The industry benchmark is under 0.1%. If you're above that, you have a serious trust problem and it needs rectified immediately. And then question three, are your emails showing up in the primary inbox or the promotions tab? Gmail's filtering is a trust signal. If you're consistently landing in promotion, Gmail doesn't think you're worthy of the primary inbox. And then question four, do your emails reflect clarity or clutter? Open the last 10 emails that you sent. Are they scannable? Is there one clear idea? Or are they information dumps? And then question five, how many people respond versus just click? Replies really are the highest signal of trust. If no one is responding to your emails, then something is broken. And honestly, most marketers avoid this audit because the answers are really uncomfortable. You're going to probably discover that half your list is dead, that your emails are too long or unclear, that your subject lines are undermining trust. But honestly, that discomfort, that's the beginning of improvement, and you can't fix what you won't acknowledge. So your second move is to redesign around clarity. Email 3.0 isn't about saying more. It's actually about saying less, but better. So, one email equals one idea and one action. That's the rule. Violate it at your own risk. Not, here are 5 things we're excited about this month, but here's one framework that will help you solve X problem. Not, check out our latest blog posts, events, and product updates. But, you asked about reducing churn. Here's the exact playbook we use to cut churn by 34%. Here's how to apply this. Before you write an email, answer, what is the single thing I want the reader to know or do after reading this? If you have multiple answers, you need multiple emails. Cut ruthlessly. Every sentence should serve the one idea or the one action. If it doesn't, you need to delete it. And make it scannable. Use short paragraphs, subheads, bullets when appropriate, and respect that people are scanning, not reading word for word. And then a clear CTA. One step, not 5 options, just one. When you redesign around clarity, your open rates are going to stabilize or improve because your subject lines set clear expectations and deliver on them. Engagement quality also increases because people can actually extract value quickly. And finally, trust compounds because every email proves you respect their time. On to the third move. Treat email as a conversation starter, not as a transaction closer. This is probably the biggest mindset shift from email 2.0 to 3.0. Email 2.0 treated every email as a conversion opportunity. Download now, buy today, schedule a demo. Everything was pushing toward immediate action. Email 3.0 recognizes that conversations build trust, and trust builds pipeline. So the CTA doesn't have to be by now. It can be reply with your biggest challenge in X area and I'll send you the framework we use. Or click to see the 3-minute breakdown of how this customer solved this problem. Or save the checklist. You'll need it when you're ready to tackle whatever the problem is. Because here's what happens when you optimize for conversation instead of transactions. You're going to get more replies, which means more signal about what's resonating with real customers, and deeper understanding of your audience's real needs and timing, and warmer leads when they do convert, because you already have built a relationship, and higher lifetime value, because the trust was built before the sale, not just during it. So, I want you to compare these CTAs. In email 2.0, we would have had a CTA of schedule a 30-minute discovery call. High friction, requires commitment, low response rates. In email 3.0, we would have said, reply with one word, yes. And I'll send you the calculator we use to forecast CAC reduction. Takes 2 minutes to use, gives you instant insight. Low friction, immediate value, starts a conversation, much higher response rates. Now, both of them can lead to a sale, but one respects the buyer's journey, and that's the one that wins. Your fourth move is to use AI responsibly. Not use AI for everything, or never use AI, but use it with guardrails that protect what matters. AI should draft, not dictate. Use AI to generate options, to create variations, to handle repetitive structure. But humans really must set strategy and define the voice and edit for clarity and inject emotional intelligence and make judgment calls. Here are the 3 guardrails that I use for responsible AI use in email. First of all, human voice. AI-generated email should be edited until it sounds like a real person wrote it. If it sounds robotic or generic or overly polished, you need to edit more. Second, we need to focus on brand clarity. AI doesn't understand your brand positioning. You do. So every AI-generated email must be reviewed for brand alignment. And then emotional intelligence. AI can't read the room. It can't sense when someone needs empathy versus urgency versus a celebration. Humans must layer that in. And when you use AI with these guardrails, you're going to get speed without sacrificing quality, and scale without losing authenticity, and efficiency without eroding the all-important trust. That's responsible AI. And it's what separates email 3.0 leaders from email 2.0 operators who are still just trying to automate everything. Smart executives know that channels don't die. They evolve. Direct mail didn't die. It evolved into hyper-targeted, personalized campaigns for high-value accounts. And phone calls didn't die. They evolved into strategic touch points at key moments. And email didn't die. It evolved into email 3.0. And executives who can navigate that evolution without writing off channels prematurely, they're the ones who are building sustainable growth. Here's what owning email 3.0 strategy really signals: that you can blend data, trust, and influence. That you understand metrics matter, not just vanity numbers. And that you're going to protect brand equity through email hygiene and deliverability. And you're going to build relationships at scale without losing your authenticity. That's the trifecta great marketers deliver. Now let's bring this full circle. First of all, email 1.0. Broadcast spam, spray and pray, died from regulation and fatigue. And then along came email 2.0, where we suffered from automation overload. It was impersonal at scale. It died from sophistication and selectivity. And now email 3.0, human-first personalization, AI-powered optimization, cross-channel integration, trust metrics over vanity metrics. Your advantage lies in auditing trust, not just performance. You design around clarity, one email, one idea, one action. And treat email as the conversation starter, not a transaction closer. And use AI responsibly. Use it to draft, not dictate, and protect your voice and your clarity and your emotional intelligence. This week, I want you to audit your own email program. Pull your last 20 sent emails and ask what percentage actually spark trust or action. Not just clicks, but did they actually generate replies? Did they move deals forward? Did they build relationships? Then I want you to make 3 moves. Cut 1. Find an email you're sending that's not generating engagement. Surely there's one. Kill it and stop wasting your list trust. And then I want you to rewrite 1. Take the highest volume email and apply the email 3.0 clarity test. One idea, one action, human voice. And then I want you to redesign 1. Pick 1 email and optimize it for conversation instead of transaction. Change the CTA from something like buy to reply and just see what happens. That's your email 3.0 reset. 3 moves this week. And here's one thing that I want you to remember. Email isn't dead, but your strategy might be. And the difference between marketers who build sustainable growth and marketers who chase every new channel, they understand evolution, not just trends. So stop writing off email and start evolving your approach. Build an email 3.0 strategy. Protect trust. Drive real outcomes. That's how you build a career that lasts. That's how you separate yourself from the noise. Thanks for listening to The Rise today. Take a moment and subscribe on Substack for weekly fire to keep your rise in motion. I'll see you next time. Here's the truth. Good is crowded. Burnout is optional. Leaders rise when they choose clarity. This is The Rise.